You're driving.
This doesn't look good. I mean, here we are riding around this guy. He's flatlander drives in the middle of the road. Come on, we're switching places.
Well, this is just rude. Well, we want to welcome you back to this episode of On the Road with Danny and Robert. We're excited to be with you again virtually. I see that Daddy still can't get the vehicle he wants to ride around virtually on the road, so he chose to use his
drive the real
office.
thing, Robert. You know, when I'm sitting here zooming, it's like, why would I want to think I'm in a car? I'm sitting here at the desk. I'd rather be in the car, you know, riding around.
Yeah,
I couldn't allow that right now.
I understand that, but just there's something called imagination that I guess you're lacking. But anyway,
But once again, if I were to pick a background, I would not pick a minivan. Okay, I'd be in something different. So, but you still choose to do a minivan. So
I choose to do a minivan on behalf of all the parents who haul children around. I speak up for them and go with minivans.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. Don't be rude, Danny. Don't be rude. So, so anyway, to the point.
I have one other question though.
Okay.
You know what? When we watch these videos, these on the road videos, you know, we've got the Holler Boys put in this little clip at the beginning. It has the truck going down the road.
Yep.
You know, and I'm sure you had some input on that, correct?
I don't recall any of that. No.
But see, the problem is you're deceiving our viewers, because as the story goes, you were driving down the road and here's this cow on the road, and you actually hit the cow. But the video at the beginning shows us missing the cow, and then obviously I'm taking over driving. See, so. But I just wanted to inform our viewers that you really did hit the cow. But we can't have animal cruelty. So
well, in my defense,
uh-huh.
I hit a cow among about 30, so I missed 29. So well, in my defense, I missed more than I hit. So that's a good thing.
That's pretty
okay. All right. Anyway, we do want to welcome you guys back to this show, and we are excited today to have our special guest. And again, you know, I'm Robert Brown with the Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative, and with me today is my good friend Danny Vance. And Danny, if you would introduce our special guest.
Well, we have Mr. Will Kyton with us today. Now, Will's been at KVEC many years. I'll let him tell you a little more about that if he wants to, but he wears many hats here at KVEC. He's all the time on the road doing all kinds of stuff. He goes, you know, we serve 23 school districts. Will goes to a lot of those and does a lot of good work. But what we've got him specifically here to talk about today is his virtual learning tools that he's working on right now through KVEC to try to help our schools in this time of the virtual learning. And Will's working on some really good things right now. So tell us a little bit about that stuff.
It's a privilege to be with both of you today. On this special edition of On the Road with Robert and Danny, or should I say Danny and Robert?
Robert and Danny works great.
That works better for Robert, yeah.
Well, for the past 3 years, I have been leading KVEC's transition work in our member school districts, and it's 15 of our school districts out of the 25 high schools, 30 plus middle schools per the Kentucky Department of Education's districting of special education regionally. And it has been very rewarding. And even last fall, I started thinking, having conversations with my colleagues like you all about building out a multimodal delivery of transition experiences for students, because even though it appears that the dominoes are beginning to fall, we have 3 of our districts that have already opted to move virtually to begin the school year. We suspect more may follow suit. If that occurs, we will be poised to deliver our transition experiences virtually, even though some may say, well, they're self-paced. That's really not what I have in mind. What I have in mind is scheduling with the special ed department chairs at these high schools, channeling me into their curriculum so that as they communicate with their students digitally, I'm actually part of that curriculum. Now, there are so many schools and lots of content to cover that I want to share. Concurrently, we have been building out some job simulation experiences. And so I'm not going to go into detail because Danny was instrumental, given his expertise in advising us, as well as the engineers in the Holler professional broadcasting studio in their build out, writing the code to make all this work. And again, that's going to be a new feature to the transition experiences that teachers and students will enjoy moving forward. So I'll hush and step aside for a moment, but that's my role and what I've done and what I will be doing as we move forward.
So when you talk about these transition experiences and virtual, give me an example of what one of those would be, or two of those, when you talk about transition experiences.
Well, the transition experiences that we are under contract to provide to our member school districts per the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation are in 5 topical/content areas. There is workplace readiness training, soft skills, work-based learning experiences, self-advocacy, post-secondary education counseling, as well as career exploration. So those are the 5 topical areas. And whether I am channeling in a guest expert in one of those areas, or we are virtually watching a pre-recorded video vignette of a guest expert and having dialogue, we can do this virtually without it being a video that we push to teachers and they push to their students in a self-paced format. Even though that could be done, that is not what the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation would like us to do.
So let's think about the workplace experiences and the virtual part of this. And Danny and I have had this conversation when we talk about career and tech ed. And let's say, for example, we have a student like Danny who, when he grows up, wants to drive a truck or a bus.
Mhm.
And having been with Danny and driving experiences, the benefit he would have is some kind of virtual learning of how to drive any type of vehicle. Do you have anything like that that you're working on?
By the way, Will, I think before you answer that, we need to maybe direct that to Robert. He's the one that hit the cow, you know.
That's
I've
right.
never hit a cow.
Yeah, a poor attempt at cow tipping, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No, that cow got tipped. Yeah, he got tipped. Go ahead.
So just to flesh that out a little bit with the work-based learning experiences, if you think about it, in practical terms, it's really difficult to take busloads of students to a workplace and vice versa, taking a workplace to a high school. So last fall, we started having conversations about exporting work-based learning experiences. We sit with a group of high school students. We may watch some video vignettes on carpentry, HVAC, auto mechanics, paint and frame. The list goes on and on and on. And then based on what they're interested in, we actually put on the Oculus wireless headset, and students can, in 5 minutes, engage in a real job simulation experience. And based on Danny's advice, given his expertise, the engineers were able to write the code to create these virtual job simulation experiences, much like you would experience if you were a pilot or a driver in a simulation. Again, they're limited to about 5 minutes. Now, I've been asked, can we transmit and share this virtual job simulation experience virtual/live? And my answer is not yet. It is something that students would only enjoy if I am at the school in person in their classroom, because it requires the Oculus wireless headset hardware. They have to put that on to actually engage in the virtual experience. So I must give credit to our special education division here at KVEC, because it was really their idea to build out these job simulations, and we had conversations about it being compatible with the transition work that I do, and it made perfect sense for me to provide some overarching leadership to work with the engineers, bring Danny and his career and tech ed background on board to make sure that these job simulation experiences are accurate, and they really are.
Good.
Well, we talked about all this before, Will, and obviously you've worked a lot on it, and I've helped a little bit, but there's no replacing the hands-on in the shop like it used to be. That's the best you can get right there. But in today's world, as we know, things are changing, and we've got to look at options. And I really appreciate the work you do with this, because this is going to be really valuable to our students that can't get their hands on it, but they can in a virtual setting. And it's great what you're doing right now with those kids.
Well, thank you, because this is a way to expose them to their potential career pathways and
Right.
corresponding post-secondary education choices. So we're trying to be as real-time and as authentic as possible, because we are impacting their lives. So that's why we put a lot of effort into this, so that they have the best chance possible to make good decisions moving forward.
Right,
Now,
absolutely.
Will, you have a video clip that you want to share today. Can you set that up and tell us what we're going to be seeing? And I think you happen to know the special guest in this video clip. Maybe a little bit better than some.
So before
Okay.
you show it, a couple weeks ago, they said, okay, Will, after about a month of writing code and building these job simulations out, they said, we're ready for a test pilot. And would you be willing to bring in your son, Danny, who is a student at Jackson Independent
Good name.
in Breathitt County? He spent an afternoon actually engaged in all of the job simulations that have been created to date.
That was exciting to see. This reminds me of what I had just watched. You think about aviation and all the training that pilots go through. They have hands-on training, but they also have hours and hours of flight simulation, getting their skills down. You think about the medical field and some of the 3D graphics they use in analyzing, the organs and the vein structure, even before sometimes they get in to start work on actual patients. So I see this as a great tool to use in similar fashion, so to help hone those skills in for the students, not just students, but even educators who are teaching the students how we can use virtual and real together to have the best environment and the best educational experiences for our students for that career as we move down. So I think that's exciting. And you have any final thoughts on that, Will?
I do. Some may scoff and say, well, a 12-year-old is able to master these job simulations, but you've got to remember, just to contextualize, 12-year-olds and high school students and beyond are playing Fortnite and Minecraft very effectively, so that has nothing to do with anything. Our objective in creating the job simulations to correspond with the work-based learning experience video vignettes was to do it in such a way that it was very sophisticated, but also possible for any student to do regardless of their particular ability. So I think we have accomplished that objective, and I think our students will have an absolute blast enjoying these job simulations.
Any final thoughts, Danny?
Well, you know, I was kind of leaning back to the idea you had earlier. Maybe need to get with these engineers and maybe set up a driving one, but not for me, for you, you know. Learn how to miss those cows. That's a really good idea. We're working on that.
No,
Before the next.
Yeah, Will, I have to apologize for that. He's just a rude person, just the way he is. I'm sorry.
Hey,
but with that,
Robert.
yeah, well, Will, we certainly appreciate you taking your time to be with us and sharing with us these simulators. It's exciting to hear. It's exciting to know what we need to move forward for any reason, because virtual is a way of the future, regardless of what's happening now. Virtual is how it's going to be improve or increasing as we go through the next few years. And with that said, this is Robert and Danny with Will on the road with Danny and Robert, and we'll holler at you later.
All right, we'll holler at you later.